Good morning, CCSP. Today is Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. It is a period 6 to 10 day. It's also National Pizza Day. How do you like your pizza? Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Boys and girls, I'd like to remind you that there is a homeschool council meeting today at 6 p.m. So please let your parents know. Also, as you remember, February is Black History Month. And this year we decided to highlight some famous African American authors and share some of their stories with you. I know last week we actually had an opportunity to hear one of the books written by our own Vice President, Kamala Harris. And yesterday you had the opportunity to hear Mrs. Stratton read a story from Sharon Dennis Wyatt. Today, I'm going to highlight Mildred Taylor. Now, many of you have experience and have had exposure to Mildred Taylor's works by reading Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. Mildred Taylor was born in Jackson, Mississippi, and she grew up in Toledo, Ohio. After she graduated from the University of Toledo, she served in the Peace Corps in Ethiopia for 2 years, and then she spent the next year traveling throughout the United States working and recruiting for the Peace Corps. She also attended the University of Colorado School of Journalism, and she helped create a Black Studies program. She also taught in the program for 2 years. Ms. Taylor has worked as a proofreader, an editor, and as program coordinator for an international house and community-free school. She now devotes all of her time to her family, writing, and her ranch in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So I'm going to read a little bit of Miss Taylor's works. And the name of this book is called Song of the Trees. And actually, this too involves the Logan family from Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, but I believe that this is the very first novel written from the Logan family's perspective. So let's dive in and see what Mildred is talking about. Cassie, Cassie, child, wake up now, Big Ma called gently as the new sun peeked over the horizon. I looked sleepily at my grandmother and closed my eyes again. Cassie, get up, girl. This time, the voice was not so gentle. I jumped out of the deep, feathery bed as Big Ma climbed from the other side. The room was still dark, and I stubbed my big toe while stumbling sleepily about looking for my clothes. Shoot! Darn old chair! I fussed, rubbing my injured foot. Hush, Cassie, and open them curtains if you can see, Big Ma said. Prop that window open too, and let some of that fresh morning air in here. I opened the window and looked outside. The earth was draped in a cloak of gray mist as the sun chased the night away. The cotton stalks, which in another hour would glisten greenly toward the sun, were gray. The ripening corn, wrapped in jackets of emerald and gold, was gray. Even the rich brown Mississippi earth was gray. Only the trees of the forest were not gray. They stood dark, almost black, across the dusty road, still holding the night. A soft breeze stirred, and their voices whispered down to me in a song of morning greeting. Cassie, girl, I said open that window, not stand there gazing out at all the morning. Now get moving before I take something to you, Big Ma threatened. I dashed to my clothes. Before Big Ma had unwoven her long braid of gray hair, my pants and shirt were on, and I was hurrying from the kitchen. A small kerosene lamp was burning in a corner as I entered. Its light reflected on 7-year-old Christopher John, short, pudgy, and a year younger than me, sitting sleepily upon a side bench, drinking a large glass of clabber milk. Mama's back was to me. She was dipping flour from a near-empty canister, while my older brother, Stacy, built a fire in the huge iron-bellied stove. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Christopher John, Mama scolded. Getting up in the middle of the night and eating all that cornbread? Didn't you have enough to eat before you went to bed? Yes'm, Christopher John muttered. Lord knows I don't want any of my babies going hungry, but times are hard, honey. Don't you know folks all around here in Mississippi are struggling? Children crying because they got no food to eat, and their daddies crying because they can't get jobs so they can feed their babies. And you getting up in the middle of the night, stuffing yourself with cornbread. Her voice softened as she looked at the sleepy little boy. Baby, we're in a depression. Why do you think Papa's way down in Louisiana laying tracks on the railroad? So his children can eat, but only when they're hungry. You understand? Yes'm, Christopher John muttered again as his eyes slid blissfully shut. Morning, Mama, I chimed. Morning, baby, Mama said. You wash up yet? No. Then go wash up and call little man again. Tell him he's not dressing to meet President Roosevelt this morning. Hurry up now, 'cause I want you to set the table. Little man, a very small 6-year-old and a most finicky dresser, was brushing his hair when I entered the room he shared with Stacy and Christopher John. His blue pants were faded, but except for a small grass stain on one knee, they were clean. Outside of his Sunday pants, these were the only pants he had, and he was always careful to keep them in the best condition possible. But one look at him, and I knew that he was far from pleased with their condition this morning. He frowned down at the spot for a moment, then continued brushing. Man, hurry up and get dressed, I called. Mama said you ain't dressing to meet the president. See there, he said, pointing at the stain. You did that. I did no such thing. You fell all by yourself. You tripped me. Didn't. Did too. Hey, cut it out, you two, ordered Stacy, entering the room. You fought over that stupid stain yesterday. Now get moving, both of you. We gotta go pick blackberries before the sun gets too high. Little man, you go gather the eggs while Christopher John and me milk the cows. Little man and I decided to settle out our dispute later when Stacy wasn't around. With Papa away, 11-year-old Stacy thought of himself as the man of the house, and Mama had instructed little man, Christopher John, and me to mind him. So, like it or not, we humored him. Besides, he was bigger than we were. I ran to the back porch to wash. When I returned to the kitchen, Mama was talking to Big Ma. We got about enough flour for 2 more meals, Mama said, cutting the biscuit dough. Our salt and sugar are practically down to nothing. And she stopped when she saw me. Cassie, baby, go gather the eggs for Mama. Little man's gathering the eggs. Then go help him. But I ain't set the table yet. Set it when you get back. I knew that I was not wanted in the kitchen. I looked suspiciously at my mother and grandmother, then went to the back porch to get a basket. Big Ma's voice drifted through the open window. Mary, you ought to write David and tell him somebody done opened his letter and stole that $10 he sent, she said. No, Mama, David's got enough on his mind. Besides, there's enough garden foods here, so we won't go hungry. But what about your medicine? You're all out of it, and the doctor said you good to... Shh! Mama stared at the window. Cassie, I thought I told you to go gather eggs. I had to get a basket, Mama. I hurried off the porch and ran to the barn. I wonder, what is it about Mama? You think she's sick? Let's tune in on Thursday and find out. Well, CCSP, have a terrific Tuesday. And remember, be kind, always.